All right. Hello, everybody. Oh, my goodness. My light is off. There we go. Hello, everybody. I'm Axle1324. And, of course, I am joined, as always, for these Halo talks by my good buddy, Lethal Terminus. Lethal, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me, Axel.
Oh, you know what? I just got a notification that we went live from our show. Let me turn that off. All right. So we're talking about episode 2 of the Halo TV show. And what a setup.
It's quite something.
Put simply, what a setup. So as with a lot of new shows, especially when you get something as deep lore as Halo, you spend a lot of time setting up, and man, did they take their time, don't you think, Lethal?
Oh, they sure did. Absolutely.
My wife had so many questions watching this episode. It's crazy. Let me put on my hat. I have a nice hat I want to wear today. There we go. Ooh, all right, there we go. Got to represent.
Absolutely.
All right, so let me remove this out of here. Get out of here. Let's get straight into it. So, scene 1, I'm going to call it scene 1. We see Master Chief with some of the augmentation scars that they got. And we also see them, what's the word I'm going to use here? You also see that some of these beds are empty from the people that did not survive the augmentation. And, let's talk about these two scenes first, the augmentation scene and the empty bed scenes. And I think this is pretty lore accurate, in my opinion. What do you think, Lethal?
More or less, yeah. I mean, I don't have too much to add on this, but yeah, all the beds and that little station they're on, and their family at the end of the day, they do everything, even sleep right next to each other. They're
There was definitely no privacy in the
almost
Spartan
always not
programs.
separated.
Yeah, there was certainly no privacy, right?
Yeah, not at all.
But the scene leads us to a weird scene here, and that's here, where we run into Spartan 066, Soren. Now, I've never heard of Soren before. Have you heard of Soren before? I believe you had mentioned them.
Yeah, I have.
Yes.
He has quite a bit of lore in him.
Mhm.
Well, some lore. He's one of the only Spartan defectors that we know of, and he has kind of a troubled history in lore.
All right, so far lore accurate.
Yes.
All right, so we run into Soren. Master Chief is trying to stop him from, I guess, leaving from dissertation, and he gives him 5 minutes. You get to see what the augmentations did to his hand, and I love this scene because right here, you can see some of the grafting that they did to him to, make their bones harder, unbreakable, come to speak of.
Yeah.
And his hand did not take good to the augmentation at all.
It did not, no.
Yeah. You can see kind of his fingers bent in right here, and this one's completely out. So, yeah. You got to learn to relax, Soren. You got to relax, man. So Soren defects. You can see that Chief knew that he defected, and he gave him 5 minutes, all that good stuff. And I love how young he looks in this scene. Incredibly young, the young Spartans. Let's see. Then we get back to Reach. And here we see Dr. Halsey walking with this man. Who is this man? He seems to be like a very high up general.
Yeah, I believe that's Lord Hood from the games.
Oh, you believe that's Lord Hood?
Yeah, I believe.
Whoa, okay. Can we see if it says Lord Hood on there? Let's see. Enhance. No, cannot make it out at all. At least I cannot. If that's Lord Hood, that's big because Lord Hood is pretty awesome in my opinion. He's one of my favorite generals. I kind of like how he plays intelligently later on. Right here, he plants that seed of, hey, you should bring it up to the council. What do you think of this scene? The little manipulation back and forth, the little mind games between him and Dr. Halsey.
Yeah, well, first I'll tell you, did a good job on the actor. I think he fits the part. He looks like Lord Hood. He really does. And yeah, Lord Hood is on the side of the Spartans. You know, he's supporting Halsey basically. In a sense, he wants
to win.
the program to succeed. Yeah, he wants to win at the end of the day.
Yeah, I kind of feel that Lord Hood understands the risk and is willing to accept it, but almost in an indirect way. You know, like kind of like that manipulation. Like he knows who Dr. Halsey is and what kind of person she is. And he's like, yeah, you should do this. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, I love this scene. Absolutely love it. So here they're talking about Master Chief and how he's left and how she thinks she can control him with a program. And Lord, what did she call it? That her and the Admiral have a contingency or a plan just for this. And Lord Hood basically is like, you know what's better if you brought it up to the council. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, here we see them looking for Master Chief, Team Silver. Here are the other Spartans looking for him, talking amongst themselves. And then this scene I thought was awesome. Now, at first, I didn't know what this place was, but I'm like, well, that is so cool. It is definitely somewhere that I would like to be. It looks cool to me. I thought it was a mining facility for sure. But I didn't tell us exactly where this was. And then he walks in. Everybody's aiming their guns at him. And I'm like, my wife was like, is this a rebel base? And I go, well, I mean, I guess it was. But come to find out, it is not a rebel base at all. Technically not. And this place is a place, what is it called here?
The Rebel.
The Rubble. The Rubble. Yeah, rubble. Like a collection of trash. And I love this scene here because it shows just how much stronger than everybody Spartans are. When he drove that forklift.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So is that in the realm of possibility for Spartans in the lore that they could just move a big old forklift like that?
Oh, they can lift a lot more than that. Like in Shadows of Reach, Chief lifted like I forget how large it was or how heavy it was. It was heavier than a Warthog. He lifted that with his 2 hands and his 2 legs. He lifted a very large boulder. It's impressive how these suits give him that much strength.
Right. And I think that the reason they're all aiming at him is because they obviously Spartans are UNSC. The Rubble is not UNSC. It's not technically Rebel either, but I think that's why they were all aiming. What do you think they were all aiming for?
Well, they're just putting their guns on him. Yeah, the Rebel is not all insurrectionists, but it's has a lot of insurrectionist ties for sure, and canonically accurate as well.
Canonical accurate. I love that. But then we get to find out that here is 066 right here with some of his armor. And here he is. Oh, Jesus. I already forgot his name. I was going to call him Vinnick, but it's not Vinnick.
Soren.
Soren. Yes. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Soren. So we get to see Soren again. And he basically is announcing that there's a bounty on Kwan's head. And that she is, am I even streaming this right? Yeah. And that she is wanted. And so everybody assumes that that's a UNSC bounty, but it's not. It is a Madrigal bounty. Now, why would Madrigal have a bounty on her head? Do you think it's because now they got what is essentially a puppet government there?
Yeah, basically, I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head, but the UNSC pretty much instilled a Madrigal leader. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his name.
Something like that. Yeah, they instilled a Madrigal leader on Madrigal to do their bidding pretty much.
Yeah, 100% puppet government, guys. Which is not unheard of. Governments do it now. So, yeah, pretty accurate to real life. And then, as they talk, Soren takes Master Chief to his private rock on a cool roller coaster style scene where you get to see the Rubble and how big it is, which is fantastic. And then you come to find out that Soren has a family. And here's where I was like, wait a minute. I could understand him having a wife, but he has a son. And that is not accurate because the Spartans cannot reproduce. Is that also what you noticed here?
Yeah, having a child is interesting, but I think in this timeline, they're like, okay, he broke off the augmentations. He can do what he wants more freely, essentially now. But there was one Spartan in lore that at least had the intentions of trying, something like that. Maria was her name. She was also the first Spartan to actually retire, and she kind of just stepped out of it and tried to have a normal life. So even if the child is inaccurate canonically, it's this wouldn't be the first time that a Spartan has essentially tried to live a normal life.
Yeah, and I kind of do feel that some of his augmentations have been removed because I also did notice that Soren in this scene and in other scenes is shorter than he was in the beginning, because him and John were about the same height in the opening scene, and here he's much shorter than John. So I'm going to assume that he's removed some of his, or as many as they safely could, remove augmentations from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe that's what gave him a son, whether he'd be biological or not. And by the way, can I just say, when I saw this, I was thinking of that Disney movie, Cruella de Vil, right here.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I got those vibes.
Yeah, I thought Cruella de Vil. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the outfit. I love the actress. I thought she played it off very well. I think it looks very elegant. Just like Cruella de Vil. So, yeah, here we go. Then we move on to High Charity, where the survivor is talking to the prophets and the Blessed One, I guess you could call her. Yeah, that's what they call her, the Blessed One, where he's going over what he saw, and he tells him what he saw, and it was basically an image of the Halo ring, the circle with the dot. Now, the circle with the dot, I believe, is the symbol for Reclaimer, is it not?
I think it's a half circle.
Let's see, Reclaimer symbol, Halo. Yeah, that circle with a dot. I guess we didn't see it in this one. Let me just pull this up here. The Reclaimer symbol looks like this, and that's not what we saw when Master Chief touched that artifact. Let's see, what symbol did we see? Mantle, Reclaimer, Librarian, Didac, Guilty Spark. You think it was closer to this one?
No, I could have sworn it was the Reclaimer symbol, at least in one of the pictures for it.
Let me see if I can find a video of it or something. Maybe later. We'll have to go back. I don't know if I can play video on this and not have an incredible copyright strike, guys. I don't
think you can.
I have to do screen grabs, and it takes a while to do screen grabs. So I'm going to have to go back eventually. So yeah, he describes it. But anyways, they call it as, that's one of their important artifacts that they're looking for. And so the Blessed One is wanting to go retrieve the artifact, and they're arguing back and forth with Mercy and Truth and Regret, going back and forth about how she should go. She wants to go, but they tell her that she's there, and that she is of utter importance. But then she goes into something that I believe was very important, and that is that she talked about her origins and how she came into the Covenant, that she was essentially saved and raised and taught by Mercy himself, who is the lead prophet. So she seems to be indoctrinated into her role as the Blessed One. And I believe that the prophets are simply using her for what she can do. And she just has been indoctrinated, kind of like the Spartans. What did you get out of that scene right there?
Basically what you said, yeah. She was raised or found by and saved by Mercy. So Mercy is kind of like I guess a father figure for her in a way. It's unusual for sure, but they're definitely using her to their advantage to get what they want.
Definitely. Yeah, so that's where we got it. And I believe they're only using her to, interact with the symbols or with the artifacts. Because she is in essence a reclaimer. Is that correct? Like they call it the blessed one, but the AIs, those orbs, what are they called again? Jesus.
Monitors.
Hmm?
The monitors.
The monitors, thank you. Yes. The monitors call us reclaimers. So yeah. And here we go. Here we are in Lord Hood's meeting. And I love this entire scene. How they're going back and forth, just talking all the news of the day, right? And Dr. Halsey starts explaining the Cortana program, right? And we cut into a scene of the Flash clone and this nobody. I don't even know what his name is. I'm just calling him this nobody. Looking at the Flash clone of Dr. Halsey for some weird reason. And I don't know what that reason is. But we go back and Dr. Halsey's talking about it. And when questions about the legality of the program comes in, Lord Hood immediately deflects. I don't know if you noticed that. Immediately deflects the question over to the Admiral to basically get her to say yes. Did you notice that?
Yeah, Halsey, or at least to Perengowski, she articulated what she said in such a way to where Perengowski really couldn't deny her wish unless Perengowski wanted to look like a fool. That's not what she's about. So Halsey did a good job of manipulating the situation.
And so did Lord Hood. Good, kudos to Lord Hood for deflecting, And of course, back here, propaganda poster, Master Chief in the background. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I totally did. And here you have what is, I believe there's a map of Reach. Because I kind of remember this in the Intel briefings of Reach. I might have to go get my map and compare it one day. But did you notice these two little posters?
Yeah. It's quite nice.
Absolutely. I want this poster in my room. Hook me up 343. Help me out here.
Me too.
Yeah. Love it. All right. What'd you make of this? We moved back to Madrigal, and this is Vinschner. Vinschner? Vinsher. Vinschner.
Vinschner. Okay, so that's his name. I forget.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. He's brutal. He's absolutely brutal. And I'm liking him so far. We didn't see much, but he is absolutely brutal, and I think he's going to be a real thorn in the side for some of our protagonists.
Yeah, he seems like he's going to be a real, like they're setting us up to hate him, to make him an antagonist. And he's executing rebels that Han, what's her name? Quan Ha is really attached to. And, they send a drone and she sees the execution on the drone. So, yeah, this is a very interesting that he is heavy-handed. And if you remember, Vincher was on the news in the beginning of the episode. So I didn't know he was going to be that important of a figure when we first started watching this.
And neither did I.
Yeah, so now I'm going to have to remember who he is. And of course, we cut back to John and shoot, why do I keep forgetting this guy's name? I'm going to try it. Soren, thank you. Chief and Soren and Quan and everybody else celebrating and talking, just having some conversation. They're getting high off of something. We're going to go ahead and call that high concentration of hydrogen. So, yeah. And of course, Soren uses this opportunity to teach Chief that he can't taste anything because of all the chips inside him. And Soren can taste something. So I find that also to be interesting that he has so many augmentations in him that he cannot feel or even have a sense of taste. Like literally emotionless, as close to a robot as a human can get. What did you make of
stripped
that?
everything away from him. What I'll say is that Soren seems to be living his best life. Yeah, he seems to really enjoy what he's doing and enjoy the setup he has. And good for him, pretty much. He didn't want to be part of the program, and he was able to get away, and he's doing well for himself, all things considered. And he has humanity now, kind of like, or unlike John. He's kind of pointing that out.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that was an interesting scene. Just basically telling Chief that, you're emotionless, you're a robot. Here we go. All right. So between that scene and this scene, we have some other dialogue where Chief shows Soren the artifact. Soren touches the artifact, nothing happens, but both Chief and Quan are very like, don't do it kind of thing, And when nothing happened, that kind of established that, the blessed ones, quote unquote, here, the reclaimers, are not all of humanity, which is counter to the lore, to the Haloverse that currently exists. Because as I understand it, in the current Haloverse, the artifacts respond to all humans. Am I correct in this assumption?
Yeah, you are. In the actual lore, every human is a reclaimer. Every human has the access to uplink or access these foreign artifacts, and this timeline changes to where it's certain individuals, certain chosen or special individuals that have this power to activate these installations, whatnot.
Absolutely. And so that was a very important scene, I thought, especially because, again, this is a different Haloverse, so it's setting up the lore. And if you know the lore, you can pick out these little differences. And that's what we're here to talk about mostly, guys. So if you, we're not here to say that it's right or wrong, we're just pointing them out. And then they go into what is essentially a prison because Soren knows a guy who survived Covenant captivity. And so we're walking to the jail. We're seeing some guy collecting some bugs, it looks like. We see some guy drawing some frogs. And then we run into this gentleman right here. This guy. I don't think we ever hear his name. Reth. There we go. Yeah, this guy was named Reth. And he's not all there, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, he's not. He's quite simple.
All right, so Reth is very... So being a lore guy, I could follow him a little better than non-lore people. Tell me what you think of this scene, Lethal, being a lore guy, and how you think it translated into non-lore people.
Well, I don't know if you knew this actually, but Reth is actually canonical, just not as a human.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. I did not know that. What is Reth normally?
Reth in canon was a jackal.
A jackal.
Yeah, and he was sent by the Prophet of Truth to actually go to the rebel and try to smurt out ships, pretty much, to find their coordinates and track down other human colonies. And Reth helped with that, or at least tried.
I see. Did he ever switch sides or become neutral?
So Reth was trying to trade with these insurrectionists and these people at the rebel. And I believe the Prophet of Truth declared Reth the heretic because Reth actually did trade weapons with the humans, and Truth didn't like that, so he sent the Elvedam, the Arbiter. Well, not the Arbiter at the time, but the Elvedam to kill him, pretty much.
Elvedam, the Fleet Master at the time.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. That's quite a response because Velvedam never came alone. He brought a fleet.
Oh yeah, well, he didn't bring a fleet, but he brought a ship, and basically they actually ended up getting captured, thou and them, so they escaped eventually. But yeah, it was the whole thing. It was in the what was it, the Cole Protocol book, one of the earlier books.
The Cole Protocol?
Yeah, that was the title of the book.
All right, so there you go, guys. If you want to know more about Red, be sure to check out that book. What is the name of the book again?
The Cole Protocol.
Let me see if I can find this on Amazon.com. Halo, the Cole Protocol in books. So the Cole Protocol is right now, audiobook is free for me, I guess, because I'm a Prime member. But if you wanted paperback is $10, guys. That's a pretty
Oh, you
good
guys
price.
don't even have to do that because I'll let you guys in a little secret.
What's
I
that?
have every single Halo PDF book on my computer.
Ooh,
So
over
you
here
want
he's
the you want the PDF for any book, Halo book you want, just
yeah,
hit me up in
shoot
DMs and I'll send you the link.
shoot me an email, man. We'll start the illegal book trade. Really stick it to Jeff Bezos. We're not going to do anything to the man. All
Yeah.
right, so but he's over there talking about the significance of the artifact and how they look for it. It's key to their religion, which is true. He talks about how they're using it to help find the circle, essentially the ring, and to get started on their great journey. And he doesn't say the great journey, but they call it the great journey. He calls it the great journey, and he calls it, he says it's death or the end of everything. And Chief goes, "Oh, that means it's a weapon." And I don't think he actually knows if it's a weapon or not. He just kind of just says, "Yeah," right.
Well, yeah, he
And
says that you have to destroy yourself pretty much, or the Covenant will win.
yeah, because obviously Chief is a reclaimer, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way he goes. And in his lunacy, he grabs the artifact. Nothing happens, and he goes to swing it at Chief to destroy it. I take it. And of course, Chief touches the artifact. The artifact ignites. It powers up. And Chief has more flashbacks of Johnny Dog right here. Some weird diagram I have right here. Probably his home here. Probably his dad. And I have no idea what this is a picture of. Some sort of pain was happening here. Before he snaps out of the flashback. What'd you make of this flashback at all? If anything at all? Because again, these are not canonical flashbacks. But what do you make of this?
Yeah, it's possible that, like I said in the last episode, that the symbol of the foreigner artifacts took place. Now it's a picture of a dog, or at least one of the pictures. So maybe he's actually, getting better at remembering some of the actual stuff. It's kind of what I take, possibly.
Yeah, definitely. I hope these are his memories and not long memories, because I know there are some humans that used to recover long memories of their Halo existence, living on rings. I believe that was in not this last book, but the second to last book. And it was very confusing, even for lore buffs. And then he ends the flashback and he discovers it's a weapon, and he's just like, mission mode activated. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So he's running out. He says he needs the help of the other Spartans, and basically the help of the UNSC, if you will. Soren tries to tell him that they can figure it out here. Chief is not buying it, but he leaves Quan in Soren's care, which I think is also interesting because remember, Quan has a sizable bounty on her. And
Yeah,
so
it's
there
true.
you go. What'd you make of this?
Well, I think it's interesting that I know why he left Quan out there, though. It's because Chief has nobody else he can trust outside of the UNSC. And even though,
Absolutely.
it might be dangerous for her there, it's more dangerous if she were to return to Madrigal or the UNSC, reach Fleetcom.
Exactly. Yeah. And so mission mode activated. He activates the beacon, the stalwart with the other Spartans picks him up. They land on Reach, which I thought the whole scene was fast forwarded, basically. He comes out, and I was very shocked to find him in handcuffs. I should have taken a picture of that. But he is detained, if you can kind of make it out here, guys. Sorry for the low resolution. I should have taken a picture of the handcuffs. His armor is off, and he is in handcuffs. What do you think of this?
Well, it's strange that he's in handcuffs, but at the same time, I understand, because he's dangerous and, they need to secure him somehow in some way to have some sort of securements or whatnot. It's especially for someone like him. You can't let someone like that, even though he did turn himself in willingly, you can't take any risk at all. So these are the proper procedures.
Absolutely. And right here, this is where he's looking back at Dr. Halsey, and Dr. Halsey's more interested in the artifact than in him. So I don't know if this was like a look for, hey, I got something to say, or a little disbelief that she chose the artifact over him. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Yeah, your last point you made, it might be almost disbelief that he's or she's more interested in the artifact than him, or just maybe calling out for help, almost saying like, "Yeah, I need you because I don't want to, be in handcuffs for however long and whatnot, or prison." So, if there's anyone that he can look to in the UNSC, it's going to be Halsey.
Right. And let me see. Is this where Dr. Halsey also talks to him? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So next scene is Chief in a jail cell, and him and Halsey come in. And as Chief is about to open up about emotions, Halsey essentially stops him from it. And that she wants to focus on lab results. And she asks what it was about Quan that made him save her. And that, as he's talking about Quan, it shifts over back to this guy who is talking about, that pro UNSC government stuff we're talking about. We get to see also the Blessed One talk more. But Chief makes a very thing like Halsey asks him what was so different about this mission, and Chief goes, "Nothing. I'm different." What'd you make of that one?
Well, seeing the memories of his childhood for the first time definitely changed him in a way, and it opened that ballpark for a different perspective, kind of, questioning the morality of certain assignments or whatnot. And the assignment to eliminate Quan Ha was not something he could do. He could not kill a child.
Yeah. And then, of course, we get to see the Blessed One. We see some scars here of some kind. Who knows what these scars are? Matter of fact, I have a little guess of what these scars are. I believe that these are the hunter species. What are they? The Nagolago? What is the hunter species called again?
The Legola.
What is it?
Lekagolo.
Lekagolo. I believe that maybe these are infant Lekagolo that were, well, in essence, eating, and Truth came and took the little infants off her. What do you think about that?
Well, it's interesting you say that. I didn't think of the Legolo until now, and the only reason I entertained that is because we saw in one of the advertisements for this show where McKee, I believe is her name, she's actually controlling the Legolo.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines, and detaining someone with it.
Yeah, or who knows, man? Maybe this was a flood form. I don't know. Who knows? Jellyfish. It was jellyfish. I'm calling it right now. There's a jellyfish thing.
Well, if it is some sort of actual mark, I don't believe it's the mark of shame. That's what they use to brand like heretics or arbiters. But it might be like a mark of the blessed one. Kind of like its own spin on the mark of shame. Basically, just kind of something to brand her as something special.
You know what? I did not even think about that. You're right. I did not think about that. Oh, I love this character, by the way. Again, I think she is the most interesting thing to happen to the Haloverse in a very long time. Lots of speculation. Haven't had that in a while. And, Dr. Halsey says we're going to do great things together. She basically wakes up. I'm going to guess this was a stasis. She wakes up her Flash clone from stasis. And I think they're going to get started with the Cortana program at the end here. What do you believe?
That's absolutely what's going to happen. They're definitely setting up for that. That's definitely the whole point of these clones, and they got big plans for it.
That's right. In the show, it's also only showing one clone, but we know that in canon she used more than one clone. Is that correct?
Yeah, she definitely had. She had 4 at one point, or even more, perhaps.
Yeah, I remember there was 4. So yeah, but the show, of course, they're only showing one, which is fine. Totally fine, guys. Not a big deal. They're getting the point across. I don't think they plan on this show lasting 25 plus years. So at least I don't think so. But then the show ended. So overall, this show answered some questions. It created more questions. If you're a lore buff, you got to see some more of the tears between the canon lore and the Halo lore and the Halo TV show. Let me get your opinion first here, as a lore buff here, Lethal. Are you okay with this tear? Like, do you think it's going too far out to left field, or do you think it's just enough to coexist?
Well, what I can tell that they're doing, based on
Mhm.
a few things, is they're cutting costs, which I get, but they're cutting costs in some things like the Covenant side of things, because as we see, there's a human in the Covenant, and I fully believe that they're doing that because of the budget. They don't want to do a more CGI of Covenant characters if they can help it, and that just proves my point even more with Reth, which is a human instead of a jackal. So
Right.
there's definitely some tears there, and part of it at least has to do with the budget.
All right. The CGI budget going down. But overall, are you still okay with the tears, or are you not okay?
I'm okay with it. Again, I'm interested to see where they go with all the
Right.
stuff they're doing. Even though I'm a big lore buff, I'm a little bit different from some of the others where it's unacceptable for them. I understand that it's a different timeline, so I'm okay with seeing where they take it. Resting easy that I know that it's not canon at all.
Right. You don't lose any sleep over it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. No. As far as the lore, right? So I'm not as big of a. If Lethal is a 10, I'm like a 5, maybe a 6 on lore, right? In comparison. And I don't think they're taking it too far out left field. I think they're, in essence, simplifying it, and at the same time adding a little complexity to it. Like, if every human could make the artifact react, it would really simplify the writing. I think the storytelling. It would make Chief unspecial, even though even in the official lore he's really special. But you gotta really know the lore to know that.
Yeah.
So I think they're simplifying it, right? And I just believe that it's for the sake of writing, for the sake of drama. And I'm okay with it. Like, I am actually having no problems with it. I love the addition of this blessed one, the lady, the Covenant lady. And I love that they finally told us how she came about, that Mercy saved her, and that she was, in essence, indoctrinated from a young age into her role as a blessed one. And so she believes it's her duty to be part of the great journey. So I'm totally loving all of it so far. What would you rate this show, this episode? We gave the last one, which was more action heavy, an 8 out of 10. What do you think this one deserves, Lethal? Oh, my buddy Lethal must be handling some personal matters. So I'll go first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm back. I apologize for it.
No, it's okay. You got things. So yeah, I was just asking you. So, what would you rate this episode?
Oh, I'd say a 7 out of 10. Like, I would have preferred more action, to be honest.
Yeah, I kind of feel that this show was light on action. If it had some action, even though I was really into the story, I think some more action could have done it good. I'm gonna give it like a 7 as well. This one's, I think we're seeing each other eye to eye here.
Yeah.
Real quick, my wife, a huge Lethal Terminus fan, comes in. She says, "Yes, Mr. Lethal is the Halo Live Dictionary. You're a living dictionary." There, Lethal. Good. That's a good title to have, man. Put that on your resume.
Yeah, I should.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for this episode of our reactions. Be sure to let us know in the comments what you guys think. If you guys agree, disagree, if you think it's blasphemy what's happening, let us know. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Lethal, tell the people how to find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Xbox at Lethal Terminus, and then same thing on Twitter at Lethal Terminus.
Awesome. And of course, me, you can follow me here on YouTube and on Twitch, Axle1324 Gaming. You can find me on Twitter and on Xbox, Axle1324. Thank you, everybody, for so much for tuning in. And we will catch you guys next time.